Hi, and welcome back to Gear Up for Giving Ask the Guru sessions from the Case Foundation. We are here after a couple of weeks on the West Coast. We're back in DC for our last session with Sarah from Causes on Facebook. And Causes on Facebook, as many of you know, has been used by hundreds of thousands of people to raise more than $13 million for causes that they care about. So we're really excited to have her here to talk about what they're doing. Before we get started with Sarah, I just want to say thank you to all of our partners for Gear Up for Giving. The Goldhirsch Foundation and C3 Communications and Flip Video. While I'm mentioning Flip Video, if you are enjoying this session or if you have seen some of the sessions before this one, go ahead and take the survey on the right side of your screen and let us know how we're doing and what you found useful about this session, and you will be entered to win a Flip Cam and $250 for your cause. And also I wanted to mention that if you've missed any of the other Guru sessions on Tuesdays and Thursdays this month, you can still watch those videos and access the transcripts, which will be on casefoundation.org. Now to Sarah. We have announced recently that we're doing the next America's Giving Challenge on October 7th, and our partners, Causes, and Parade Magazine for that. Causes is our technology platform, so we wanted to make sure that everyone had a chance to ask all of their questions about Causes on Facebook and how to use it and how they should get people involved and raise money using that tool. We've been getting a lot of questions during Gear Up for Giving about Facebook and Causes, but we've been holding those for the most part so that Sarah could answer them today since she's our expert. So we are glad to have her here. Sarah, do you want to start by just kind of talking about basic, what is Causes, how do we use it?
Sure, that'd be great. So Causes has been around for almost 2.5 years now. It was begun as an application on Facebook with the idea of there's already a social network out there. How can we leverage that social network to create some lasting impact and change? And we've developed a lot of great tools for nonprofits to help them out when they're using the features, as well as tools for individuals who are just really passionate about an issue. So if you haven't gotten started on Causes yet, the first thing to do is make sure you have a Facebook profile. Once you've got that and taken care of, you can go to search for the Causes application, add the application, and then you can start browsing causes, looking at causes that your friends are in, or starting a cause about something that's important to you, an issue that you're interested in, or a cause for something your nonprofit's working on. So once you decide what you want to do there, usually I help nonprofits or individual activists getting started, coming up with a good issue that you want your cause to be focused on, getting that all set up, picking an engaging cause image and mission and positions to kind of explain to people what your cause is working on, and then most importantly, starting to recruit people, getting the word out about what your cause is doing. And that's where there are some really interesting ways that nonprofits can really spread the word about what you're doing on causes and link it in with other things that you're working on. So that's anywhere from highlighting it in your newsletter, featuring it on your website, getting your board members involved, which is something that I think is always really interesting, because you'd be surprised how many board members have a Facebook profile or have friends with Facebook profiles and really get pumped up to reach out to their network in a tangible way, so they can contribute more than just attending those monthly meetings, or if they're a super active board member even, they can really start recruiting their network in a way that's really transparent and really engaging.
Great. And a lot of people have asked, I thought that Causes on Facebook was just for individuals who wanted to raise money for something that they cared about. Can nonprofits also start causes for themselves?
Yeah, great question. So the thing to remember is that everyone who works at your nonprofit is an individual. So technically it's an individual starting a cause, but you can be strategic about it. You can say, okay, this one person or organization or this team of people are going to start a cause. They're going to really start working on it, and it's going to be something that our nonprofit is active in. And that's the difference. Individuals can start causes around something that they believe in that you as a nonprofit don't have to get involved in. they can just do that work on their own. But you can also take a really proactive lead in starting your own cause for an issue or a program that you're working on, or reaching out to people who have started causes already on that issue and saying, thank you so much for the work that you're doing. We as a nonprofit have a lot of resources around this issue. How can we help? How can we get involved?
Okay, great. And I'm going to start with a question we got in our email. If you still want to email questions, you can email them to gearup@casefoundation.org, or you can, if you're on Twitter, you can tweet them with the hashtag #AGC so that we can find them and pull them in, and then you can also chat them on the window below the screen. But the first question I'm going to take from email has two parts, actually. The first part is, should nonprofits ask their Facebook supporters to join both as cause members and a fan, or should they take just one approach? And this is a pretty common question we've seen. There are profiles, there are fan pages, there are groups, there are causes. It's kind of like you're on Facebook, but you don't know exactly what to do, and I'm sure that there are different answers to this question, but what do you think is the most strategic as far as how to use the different pieces?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question, and definitely one of the questions I get the most. So I think the first thing to establish is that while fan pages and causes could both be representing your organization, they're very different. And so they're different not only in the way that they're set up and the tools that they give you, but in the way that you can actually reach out to your supporters and kind of what kind of strategy that you want to have on each of these features. So let's start with the fan page. The fan page was developed by Facebook because they didn't want, companies and people having personal profiles that weren't individual people. And this really hits home to what's made Facebook successful, which is the idea of authentic identity. So everyone who has an individual personal profile on Facebook should be a real person using their real name, interacting with their real friends. And that's what we've kind of capitalized on with causes as well, of using those people with authentic identities, authentic networks. So fan pages were developed so that companies, nonprofits could have a presence on Facebook that wasn't using a personal profile in a way that they didn't want. And so it's great that you can put that out there for your nonprofit and say, this is our nonprofit's main presence on Facebook. Now, it's a really great way also to kind of push information out. So when they updated the fan page, you can post a status message from a fan page that goes out just like from a personal profile. So it goes into your stream on your news feed. And so that's a really great way. What I think is an advantage of that is that you can post multiple short messages to people. It's not a really aggressive form of communication. It goes out in a news feed. If people happen to be on Facebook at the time that you post the message, they get it. Now, one of the disadvantages to that is that you don't necessarily guarantee that people are seeing your information. Just like a friend of yours could have posted some photos and you didn't notice because you don't go to their profile very often and you didn't see it in your newsfeed. So it's something that's nice in the way that you can get in touch with people more often without it being overwhelming to them. But causes is great because when you're running a certain campaign or when you're doing something that's very important that you reach out to people right away, Causes has the tools to do that. And that's where Causes is based not just for disseminating information, but for actually running campaigns. And so the nice thing is that you can build a community on the cause similar to how you're building a community on the fan page, but it's mobilizing those people and leveraging the community to actually run a fundraising drive, start a petition, do something, dealing with activism, or, share a media item that's, raising a lot of education about an issue that you're working on. Those are all things that you can do on your cause, and that's how you can build that community and then mobilize it to actually take action. And this doesn't mean that you should just choose a cause over a fan page, but it does mean that when you want to take strategic action, that it is good to do that on the cause, or to message people on the fan page that this is happening on the cause, so that if they want to get involved in the campaign, more than just raising awareness and seeing the updates that you have, they have a place to do that as well.
Great, and I think you kind of already addressed this, but the second part of the question was, is it worth the extra effort generating entirely different content for both causes and pages if you have both? So if you just want to reiterate the part.
Yeah, sure. So I think it's important to note that you don't have to generate different material for a cause versus a fan page. They go out to totally different places. The information that you post to a fan page goes out to the news feed. Information on the cause either lives on the cause or can be sent as an email or as a notification. And so you can think of it as just sending it out in a few different ways so that people can see it depending on what they look at. So it's the idea of, if you have an article that you post in your e-newsletter, you might also put that up on your website because you're not sure where people are looking. So you can feel comfortable about posting information in multiple sites, and that, especially since people aren't getting two emails, they're not getting an email from the fan page and an email from the cause, and since things go into stream where people can look or not look as they wish, that you're not really overwhelming them with the information. You're just making it more accessible to them.
Right, that makes sense. Because really, you could have people who are just a fan or just a cause member, and you want to make sure they both get the information.
Yeah, definitely. And that's one thing that's tough to know, is how much those groups overlap. And I've talked to several nonprofits that say that they don't know for sure, but they think that there are really different communities on the cause versus the fan page. Because when they do post the same information to both places, they get very different types of comments or different types of discussions that go up based on those. And so, they've seen different reactions and really enjoy the fact that they can get a diverse, comment base happening in the two different places.
Okay. I'm going to go to a question from chat, which looks like it's about getting donations. So it says, we have many causes raising money for us, which is good. Congratulations.
Good work.
We have many causes raising money for us, but when we receive our checks from Network for Good, which they said they think that's who sends the checks, so you could confirm that.
That's true.
It's very hard for them to tell which cause has raised the money. So is there a better way to track, if you're fortunate enough to have multiple people who have causes for you, are they able to show you what causes are
who's raising money?
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. So that's one of the things that we here at Causes realized that we needed to build out for you. And so we put in our Nonprofit Partner Center. And I do think it is important to have as much transparency about donations as possible so that you can really honor what cause people have donated to, if you're doing that programmatically, or if you have different issues and you want to make sure the money goes to the issue that people donated for. If you are a nonprofit partner, you can log in at nonprofits.causes.com. And if you're not a nonprofit partner, you can still go to the same website and create your account there. There's no fee for the basic service, and it's open to any 501c3 nonprofit or Canadian charity, so anybody who is fundraising on causes. And we actually just launched a new upgraded partner center this week, so there are a lot of great new features that are in there. But specific to donations, there is a tab in the Partner Center that says Fundraising. And so that's where you can find a list of all of the donations that have been made, with the name of the person who gave the donation, with a link to their impact page on Causes so that you can easily thank them, how much the donation was for, what cause that they donated to, and when the donation was made. So there's also a downloadable Excel spreadsheet so that you can, maybe once a month when you get your check from Network for Good, download the spreadsheet, sort it by date and by cause so that you can see, okay, well, we just got our October check. So let's figure out in the month of September, because the checks come once a month on the 15th of the month for the previous month. So on October 15th, you get your check from the month of September. You can check out the spreadsheet and say, okay, well, we got 15 donations. 5 of them were from this cause, 5 from this cause, 5 from this cause, and you can very easily see the total donation amounts for each one. Okay. So it's a great way to keep track of that and make sure that you're helping out your internal accounting as well as dividing up the money for the different causes appropriately.
That's fantastic. Since you've mentioned it, why don't you back up, Sarah, just for a second and talk a little bit about the Partner Center. And you mentioned people have to log in, so how do people become partners, and what are the various features that people can expect from the Partner Center.
Sure, I would love to tell you more about that. I'm really excited about the new upgrade that we've just done. We've put in a lot of time trying to research what nonprofits really need, and we hope that we've given you, a set of tools that are really going to help you enhance your experience on causes and really understand your supporter base more. So let's start from the very beginning. If you are not a nonprofit partner yet, there are 2 different ways that you can sign up to be a partner. You can either go to nonprofits.causes.com and click, create a profile today, or if you are already on your cause, you can click on where it says all donations to this cause go to, and it lists your nonprofit as a beneficiary. When you click on that link, it takes you to your nonprofit profile. So this is a resource page that's linked to every cause that benefits you. And the idea is it's a place where your nonprofit can just put up some information for people who want to know more about who the donations are going to. And if you're not a nonprofit partner yet, you'll see a link at the very top that says, you're not a nonprofit partner, claim this profile. And it'll take you to the same page as on nonprofits.causes.com where you can sign up to be a partner. It's a very simple process. You just need to verify your EIN, so we make sure that you're signing up for the right organization. Because if you are a branch of the Red Cross and you sign up as a Boys and Girls Club, that's probably not going to be helpful. And I bet you the other organization is going to be a little frustrated. So we want to make sure that you're signing up for the correct organization and that you are actually someone who works for that nonprofit. So we do ask that you use your organizational email so that when I'm looking at your application, I know that you really work for this nonprofit and that you are trying to claim the profile. Because there are people who, just randomly see it. I don't even really understand where they're coming from, but, sign up for something and, it's very obvious that they're not working for that nonprofit. So we try to be as diligent as possible to make sure that those applications don't get approved and that only nonprofits sign up for the nonprofit profile. So, just extra steps of caution, just making sure that we're protecting you. Also on that application, we just ask you to upload a logo that we put on your nonprofit profile as well, the contact information that I stated, and that's pretty much it. Once you get approved, you'll receive an email saying, welcome as a nonprofit partner, and you can log in at nonprofits.causes.com. The login information is what you put on that original application as your username and password. So when you fill it out, make sure to write it down. But if you do forget it, you can request an email that's a reminder of your username and to reset your password from the login page. So once you get all that taken care of, which I promise will take you less time than it took me to explain it, you can log in using that username and password, and you'll be directed to the new Partner Center. Okay. So the basic things that you'll see there is a new dashboard that shows you information about your supporter base. So it'll show you how many total causes benefit your organization, how many members that is. There's a really nifty graph about cause growth that will show you the growth of your causes and your membership over a few days. And it will also show you progress that's made on your active petitions and some other information in there. So the next tab that you'll see, I'm trying to remember it, I've been looking at it a lot, is the Causes tab. And this addresses one of the most important new additions to the Partner Center, and this is the ability to create affiliate causes. And so an affiliate cause is a cause that you recognize as one that is either supporting your campaigns, working on your issues, doing something that you feel really lines up with what your nonprofit is doing. And so you can request that cause become an affiliate cause of your nonprofit. And that gives you the ability to communicate directly with the cause administrators, as well as post bulletins to the cause members of that cause and become an administrator of the cause. So you can also do things like edit the cause, upload a new image if you took a really great picture at an event, or a picture of the service that your organization's doing. So it gives you some great benefits. When you request that a cause become an affiliate, you do need to get the cause administrator's approval to do that, because it is an important two-way relationship. But it's a great way for you to get more involved in the causes that are supporting you and to develop those relationships with the cause administrators. So in the rest of the Partner Center, you'll see ways to post the bulletins that I talked about, to set up some donor choices to make greater impact on your donations. So you can actually say $25 will pay for a flock of geese, and that when people give that donation, they understand the impact that it's making. You can also set up petitions and a few other things in the Partner Center. So make sure to check that out, and for more information, you can always go to the Causes Exchange at exchange.causes.com.
Great. I'm actually going to go off of something you just mentioned about the flock of geese.
Yeah.
Because we had a question from chat about, is that the same thing as a charity gift? Are there charity gifts? And how do I create a charity gift that'll benefit my nonprofit?
Great question. So currently we're not expanding our charity gifts. We still have the same number that we had when we launched 2.5 years ago. If we're not planning on expanding those anytime soon. If we do, it's going to be one of those things that we want to improve the feature before just letting people make charity gifts willy-nilly, because we don't want it to just be, a badge on your cause. We want it to be something that people actually use a lot and engage with. And so, we're reviewing it now. When we figure out a really great way to do it, we'll expand. But I was just talking yesterday to a group of nonprofits, and I got a great comment from Lutheran World Relief. So they actually started using donor choices, which I said you can create from the Partner Center, as a more or less type of charity gift. So they've set up a few different donor choices that represent things that they are buying. And I actually just got an email from them. I should have opened that up so I could tell you what they're specifically doing. But they're doing things like, $25 buys a flock of geese, and have created a set of donor choices that represent real things and can seem more like charity gifts to people. So that when they make that donation, they realize they actually are buying that thing for someone. And so that's a really creative way to use the feature, and it's a great way to get people involved and to really highlight the impact.
That's a great tip. If you don't have a charity gift that benefits your cause, you can kind of quantify, what a certain amount of money will buy. And I think that's always effective in fundraising, when people know exactly what their money can buy, and it helps them, especially with these small donations. I think it helps them see that, $10 really does make a difference, or $20 really does make a difference, because it purchases something tangible.
Yeah, and people always appreciate transparency. I'm going to be much more likely, personally, to donate to a nonprofit where I know what they're spending my money on. I know what types of things that their donations go to, rather than an organization that keeps that all, kind of close to the chest and doesn't really tell you what your donation is doing, because then you don't really know what you're donating towards.
Right.
So, even if you can't say we guarantee that this money is going to go exactly here, giving examples of what the money goes towards, and creating those stories, and really being as specific and transparent as you can, always helps people relate to the work you're doing better.
Great. I'm going to take another follow-up question from Twitter. When we were talking about how there are groups and pages and all of that, I would think groups were first. That was the first thing that you could do for an organization. And so someone's asking, can I somehow export my Facebook group to a fan or a cause page? So you've already got a group that you've been building since, 2005 when you got on Facebook. So now how do you get those people who have signed up to join your group, how do you get them in your cause? Is there an automatic way to do that, or a strategic way to do that?
I don't know between groups and fan pages. I don't think that there's a way to do that, but I'm not really sure, since those are run directly by Facebook, and causes is a separate thing. But I do know that related to a cause, there isn't a way to directly move a group or a fan page into a cause, just like there isn't a way to consolidate two causes together. So it is really important that you know what you're getting yourself into, and that it is one thing that isn't really easily transferable. But here's the thing, this is what I always think of when people ask me this question. Let's say you do have a group, and let's say that it has 1,000 members on it, and you really want to make sure that those 1,000 members keep getting updates from you. So what you can do is let them know that you're switching from the group to a cause. Provide them with the link, give them the update. Make sure you don't close down the group right away, so that people can, if they go back, they get that information. And the thing is that your good supporters, your quality activists, are going to move over. And if people either see that and decide not to take action, or aren't going back to your group, really ever to check in,
Right.
having those people on your cause probably wouldn't be productive anyway, because they're not the action takers. You've given them a very simple thing that they can do to make sure to stay involved, and if they're really interested, they're going to do that.
Right.
And so those are the people that would just bolster your numbers and probably make you more frustrated when you were trying to do a major campaign because you thought that you had enough people, and they really aren't going to do that. So I think that even though numbers are really important, and any time that you can reach out to people, it's effective whether or not they take action. When it comes to campaigns and really building that momentum, you'll probably either find those people again, they'll find you, or they wouldn't have been main contributors to your campaigns anyway.
I think that's a great point, which really goes for all social media that we've talked about throughout Gear Up for Giving. Is people have asked, how do I get a lot of followers on Twitter? How do I get a lot of people to be on my fan page? And the same goes with causes. If someone's not, it's not as much about the numbers, because if someone's not going to be engaged and they're not going to communicate with you, and they don't really care about your cause, then it's not that helpful to just have them there as a body in the room. So I think that's a good point for all of social media. But
yeah, I definitely agree.
Let's see, we have so many questions. I'm going to take another one from chat, which is from someone who's new to causes. And they said, am I understanding that if we have several campaigns, capital, scholarship, etc., that we should have a cause for each and post info specific to that campaign with that cause? So if I'm a nonprofit and I have various campaigns for separate things, should I create a separate cause for each one?
That is a fantastic question, and this is actually probably one of the things that I love strategizing with nonprofits the most. And here's, I think, the general questions to ask yourself before you make a decision. So I think the first question is, what would you create these causes around? If your organization has multiple issues that have different supporter bases, then that makes sense. Because, so think of it this way. Let's say that your organization, I'm trying to think of somebody that does very different issues. Okay, so the Red Cross. So the Red Cross does both disaster relief work and blood services work, right? So when you go to donate blood. So there could be somebody that's really, really interested in helping out with disaster relief, but who really doesn't care about learning about blood donations or anything like that. You don't necessarily want to be sending out updates and information on both of those issues to the same communities, because you actually might lose supporters who are like, oh, I came to this cause because I thought that it was about hurricane relief, and now all I'm getting is updates about this. Like, I don't want to know about this, so I'm going to go find a different cause. So if you do think that the supporters of different issues, different programs, different things that you're doing don't completely overlap, definitely go the way of having multiple causes that are based on issues, because then you'll probably both keep those people more engaged, have better updates about what's actually going on for each of those issues, as well as recruit new people who might not necessarily know that your organization's doing this issue because they only knew about that issue. And so when they search for something like disaster relief, they would find your cause and be like, oh, that's really great. This is something that I really care about. So I think that's one of the most important things to really think about. Also, it doesn't hurt if you do think that your supporters really just support your organization, whatever you're working on, and you're still focusing on the same type of service but in different ways, then it probably is okay to have one cause. If those people are all going to be the same type of community and you're just approaching the issue or the service that you do in a different way, then those people will probably all react to it positively, and will be the same group of people that you want to be giving those types of updates to. So I think that that's kind of how to look at it, and really it doesn't hurt to just get started with one cause in the beginning. Get that going, start building momentum, make it around something that you think everybody who supports your organization can identify with, or the strongest issue that you have. So, it might be one of the more successful causes that you have. Get that going, see how you feel, see how your supporters are reacting, and then you can always, make that decision of, okay, if we start a second cause, what would that be? How would we approach it? How would it be different? How would our community be different? And you can even ask the cause community that you already have, would you be interested in a cause that was like this? Would you like updates here, or should we start something new? And see what the cause community says, because you'd be surprised of the great feedback that they'll give. And then when you do, if you do decide to do something different, you probably already have supporters behind you who are going to, be the first ones to go to that cause, help you recruit, and really, are doing that jointly with you.
Great. I'm going to take another question from email about what are some of the most effective fundraising strategies. Since we want to fundraise, there are lots of things you can do with causes, but fundraising is what it's most known for. So how can people most strategically fundraise with causes?
Okay, yeah, I can definitely highlight a couple different ways that I've seen and try to give some successful examples. I think that the first thing that I just really love is Birthday Wish. We started Birthday Wish earlier this year, and it's just been incredibly successful at making donations both really personal as well as, just getting people involved that might not have been involved before, or just really building the momentum behind it. So the way that Birthday Wish works is that we send people an email 30 days before their birthday. That's if their birthday is on file with Facebook, because that's where we access that information from. And we'll send you an email saying, hey, your birthday's coming up, happy early birthday. You can start a Birthday Wish. You can choose any cause that you're in and raise money for that. And so people can, go ahead and click on that right away, get started making a Birthday Wish, select a cause, and then make a personal message for why do they really care about this cause? Why are you going to raise money for this for your birthday? Messaging like, you don't need to take me out to dinner this year for my birthday. Don't feel like you have to get me a gift. But please donate to this, and here's why. Here's what it means to me. And some of those I've seen have been incredibly personal and incredibly impressive, and told me things about my friends that I didn't know before. And so it's a great way to let your friends know what you care about and how they can help you doing that on your birthday. So we help you to send out reminders to your friends, post things to your status message, and give you a lot of tools to make sure that you can reach out to people in the best way possible. So that's a fun new tool that you can use. There's also the ability to send out a link for Birthday Wish to all of your cause supporters. So this is something that I think is really great for nonprofits. If you're an administrator of your cause, click on the Admin Center, which is under the cause image if you're logged in as the administrator. And one of the tabs there will be Birthday Wish. And under the Birthday Wish tab, you can copy and paste a link that if somebody's birthday is within 30 days, when they click on that link, it'll automatically get them started setting up a Birthday Wish that goes to your cause. So that's a way to do some really direct messaging and not just say, oh, start a Birthday Wish, and by the way, if you think of it while you're doing it, set it up for our cause. But it's like, if you want to set up a Birthday Wish for our cause, just click on this link and it'll get you started right away. So that's a really great way that you can, really enforce to people what you're doing. And it doesn't help, this would definitely be tip number 2, to just make sure to explain the impact, explain why it's important, and explain where the donations are going. Not only will that help in a Birthday Wish for them crafting their message to their, friends and family, so that they can say, this nonprofit's working on this. These are the types of things that the money's going to go to. But it also just builds effective fundraising goals. If you put up a fundraising goal that just says, we want to raise $5,000, and that's really all that you're saying, or, we want to raise it for our organization, people don't understand what that means. They even if you've done a good job of saying, these are the types of things that we do in the past, or they get what your organization is, asking them to donate without saying what you're trying to accomplish, oftentimes makes people feel like they don't understand where their donations are going. They don't understand why you're asking for it now. Have you just picked an arbitrary goal? So it's really good to say, we've set a goal for $5,000 because it means that we're going to be able to accomplish X, Y, and Z. Here's how you can help, make it really tangible, provide as much information as possible. And while you're doing a fundraising goal like that, make sure to check back in with your members, say, this is how many donors we've had, this is how much we've accomplished, here's how much is left, and, maybe try to highlight a top fundraiser or a top donor or somebody who started a Birthday Wish for you that's raised $500 for your cause, and, appreciate those people, make sure to thank them personally, and acknowledge them to the cause community, because the cause is a community, and there is a certain level of social acknowledgement when people take action on the cause. I'm going to be more likely to join a cause if you invite me, Kristin. And if you donate, that might make me think twice and say, wow, Kristin's really supporting this campaign. Maybe this is something that I should get more active in. That's what makes doing something in social networks and doing something where there is a community really strong.
Right. Great.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there are any other. Sorry, I realized I was like, oh yeah, I was listing things here. So I think, just being strategic when you're talking about fundraising, making sure to be clear about the impact that you're doing. Another idea, if your organization has any kind of corporate relationships or existing corporate sponsors, is to do a cause sponsorship. And we've done a few of those this year, starting with Ben & Jerry's back in January, who sponsored Common Cause with their inauguration-based theme of Yes, Pecan, which I think is so freaking cute. But so the one that we currently have live right now is actually a $1 million matching campaign sponsored by AFLAC for the AFLAC Cancer Center. And we're winding down the campaign. Last time I checked, I think that we were within $170,000 of the $1 million. Wow. So they're getting really close. But the way that they've done it is it's $1 for every person who joins the cause, as well as matching every donation that's been made.
Okay.
So it's a great way to both incentivize people to join the cause and recruit their friends, as well as saying, we're giving up this money. If you guys are willing to donate or able to donate, we'll even match that. So it kind of doubles the impact of all donations and really gets the word out about what's been going on. So they've done a really great job. You have the incentive that's there for the sponsorship, which is a really important thing, as well as they've been posting some really great media, some links to articles, as well as like some wonderful videos, some just really cute videos with the kids from the Cancer Center, and just being so transparent and obvious about the work that the Cancer Center is doing to make people feel like they're actually involved and understanding what they're giving towards, which is definitely important. So that's another option if that's something that you're interested in. If you already have existing corporate sponsors, make sure to contact us.
Great. I'm going to take a follow-up question from chat about Birthday Wish. Someone says, I love Birthday Wish application. I did it on my birthday. But they're wondering, is there something I can set up that's similar for the holidays? With Christmas coming up, is there anything... your birthday, unfortunately, only comes once a year, so if you missed it or if you just want to do it again, is there something else like that?
So there's nothing yet, but it is something that we're thinking about.
You're putting in a request here.
It is on my wish list. No, but it's something that I think could be really, really interesting and really engaging, and it's something that we're thinking about here at Causes. So if that's something that we're able to do, we'll definitely announce it on Causes Exchange so that you guys can take advantage of the opportunity.
Okay. Someone else from chat is wondering if they can use a cause to support an international nonprofit.
So you can use a cause to support international work, but at this time we can only accept donations to U.S. 501c3 nonprofits and Canadian charities. So that doesn't mean that you can't start a cause to raise awareness about what's happening, what that nonprofit is doing. I've definitely worked with some nonprofits that are based in other countries where they start a cause, they build the community, and they're doing advocacy work, and they can include a link to their website or something. It doesn't keep track of the donations on the cause then that are made to the website, because we only keep track of donations made on the cause, but it's still a way to increase awareness, take advantage of the social networks, and still talk about what work is being done, because awareness about what your organization is doing is always a really important thing to do, and building those more people who know who your organization is, know what you're doing, and give them different ways that they can get involved, that's still valuable. Or you can try to forge alliances with existing U.S. or Canadian nonprofits. Maybe there's somebody that's already doing work in the area or the issue that you are. Reach out to them, see if you can make a partnership and work with them on that.
Great. And then, as mentioned with this sort of situation where there is a nonprofit that's not located in the U.S., people are not always going to donate. When you ask them to join a cause, sometimes they'll join, but they won't donate. If it's someone who's not going to donate, is there any, what are the benefits to having them as part of your cause? And, what are the other actions that you can take via causes if it's not donations?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there are a few different strategies that you can have on causes and a few different things that you can do. And I like to use the word strategy because it is really important to recognize what kind of strategy that you want to have, what your plan is, and what your goals are. And you can have different plans and different goals when you're approaching causes. I talk to nonprofits that are like, we want to use this to raise awareness about the issue that you were dealing with. We don't necessarily want to fundraise right now. And we might do that in the future, but this is our primary goal right now. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's the goal that your organization is doing. It's, what you're doing to, fulfill the mission of your organization, and however you see fit, that's a really great way. And using the community in different ways that line up with, what your needs are is fantastic. So that can be anywhere from, raising awareness, educating people about your issue, getting the word out about what you're working on, doing advocacy campaigns. So the petitions tool is a great way to do advocacy work. Our largest petition, I think, broke 3.3 million people now, which deals with genetics markers testing for breast cancer. And we've had several hundred petitions that have been made by nonprofits, which is something else to do from the Partner Center at nonprofits.causes.com. And you can also do fundraising type of work. And I think that when you're approaching fundraising, the important thing is to really make sure that you've set up a community who can support your fundraising campaign, and that you've kind of built things strategically and built them in a way where you've already developed the community, built a relationship, gotten them engaged, and then you're asking them for money. Because if you build a cause of 100 people and put up a fundraising goal for $25,000, first of all, that's probably not going to be achievable. Right. Second of all, you're already going to start alienating your cause members by having them feel like you've given them such a huge ask. Like, how can we do that? That's going to make them start to get nervous and start to get frustrated as a community. So making sure that you're sequencing things appropriately, building up a community who can support the goals that you have, and making sure that, if for some reason you don't achieve a goal that you made, still thank the community, still thank the people who have given to you, and maybe next time around, reassess how you approach that goal or what the goal was, try to make it a little bit more realistic, or ask cause members what they think that the goal should be. And because if they decide on what the goal is together as a community, they'll be much more likely to mobilize when the campaign starts to really take part in that.
Great. I'm going to go with another question from email, which is, how much do people normally donate on causes? What kind of numbers are we looking at?
That's fantastic. So the median donation is $25 on causes. We use median and not mean because, who knows, somebody gives $5,000, that can knock it all askew. But the most common donation is $25.
Okay. So it's a good goal for people to have, to ask for $25.
Yeah, and it's pretty reasonable to ask for small amounts of money from people. I mean, what Causes is really great at is giving anybody the opportunity to take part. So anybody can join a cause, and if they're able, giving $10 or giving $25 can be really impactful, because that's how we've reached $13 million donated on causes, right? It's through a lot of small donations, and I think that it makes it much easier and much, more acceptable for the individual to give $10 or $25 on causes. I definitely, in my life have been like, okay, well, I can really only give $10 this month. I'd really give it to this organization, but I'd feel really silly sending them a check in the mail for $10, even though they would love that. I'm sure that, the nonprofit would absolutely appreciate that, because nonprofits appreciate all donations. But personally, I felt really uncomfortable. And, it is just a personal thing, and everybody approaches it differently. But I like that on causes, I can give that, and it's actually, it's encouraged, it's easy, and, maybe next month I'll give $20 if I have $20. And so, it lets people build incrementally. It lets them give what they're able to give, and it makes it, very easy and very an approachable system for people.
Great. Let's see. Another question that we have from chat is, I've noticed that there are a few causes that people have created to support my nonprofit. Is there a way to merge these causes?
Yeah, so there isn't a way to merge causes. Each cause community is separate. I think that it kind of depends what these causes are working on. It doesn't really hurt to have multiple causes, especially if they have different administrators, because different administrators are going to approach it differently. They're going to have different resources, and the community of people that they've gained has come from networks that began with that administrator. So people are connected to people who are connected, and so that's going to be a different community of people that know different people and might want to approach things in a different way. So I mean, granted, you don't want to be managing 10 exactly the same causes,
Right.
especially if you're the administrator of all of them. But, don't be afraid to have multiple causes that are working on things, because those community members are still going to be important. One thing, though, is that if you do have multiple causes, I just kind of approach it in the same way as when we were talking about groups. That, if you send people a message and you say, we're trying to consolidate things, make more successful campaigns, we're going to try to have this cause be our main cause, please move over. You'll probably get the people who are really active to move over. You can always see how that goes. Try to just look at how it's all set up, look at what's best for your nonprofit, look at the resources that you have, but don't be afraid to try things that are a little bit different. And you can always try it out for a couple weeks, a couple months, see how you feel like your resources are being sent out, and see how the cause community has responded.
Okay, great. Another question we had from email was kind of related to this. Should I communicate, if I'm a nonprofit professional, should I communicate with the other people who have causes that benefit my nonprofit, and is there a way to do that easily?
Yeah, so I think that really depends on what you'd want to accomplish through that conversation. If you are willing to, give that cause administrator resources, or if you just want to thank them and say, we really appreciate the work that you're doing, those are all really positive ways to interact with cause administrators. And it's very easy to send them a message when you're on the cause. It'll say administrators in the right-hand column. You click on their name and it takes you to their impact page where you can leave them a care note. So it can be thanking them, it can be a general message, or things like that. Really, if you have some time or some resources to invest in a relationship, that's a really great way to support and help out cause administrators who have already begun something for you. When what we call unaffiliated activists, so people who don't work for your nonprofit, start a cause, it's probably because they really care about that, and they're so passionate about what they're doing that you can capitalize on and use that passion to really, complement the resources that you have and to really spur really great campaigns or great strategies. So I have to say, generally, though, you should respect the cause administrator and the community that they have built. Definitely have nonprofits that are sometimes like, I want to come and take over this cause. But, that's not acknowledging the work that's already been put into it, and kind of disregarding this great activist that you can use to build even more successful campaigns. So usually the great way to approach it is thank them for the work that they've done and ask them how you can help. Maybe in there say, if you're interested, I would love to co-administer this cause with you and see what we can do together. But it's often worth recognizing that they've put a lot of work into this and seeing how they think that you can help. Just like asking a cause community what they think that you should do for the next campaign. People appreciate being asked. People appreciate, being thanked for the work that they've done, and seeing what the next steps are that you can do together. I've known some really great causes, though, that have flourished after the nonprofit has kind of offered up their help. I worked with a cause administrator named Dylan who works on the March of Dimes cause, and now has a nonprofit employee who's administering that with him. And it gives a really great perspective, because you can have the more personal stories of the cause administrator along with some of the great resources and information from the nonprofit. So it gives two different perspectives, a lot of different kinds of resources, and it's multiple ways that cause members can feel engaged and involved.
Great. Let's see, we have another question from chat, which is about the Aflac Cancer Center cause. It says, "Hi Sarah, I just logged in for the Aflac Cancer Center cause. How often should I be sending out announcements to members without frustrating them?" I think that's a good question.
Oh, so I see that's from Jacob. So that's really fun. This is one of the administrators on the Aflac Cancer Center cause.
But I think that's a good question generally. Question. How often, because you don't want to over communicate. How often?
Yeah. So
should you be doing
the
that?
great thing is that you have 3 different ways that you can communicate with people. You can post something on the cause, which is only living on the cause, so people don't hear that there's something new unless they go to the cause and see something new. You can also send it as a notification, which is a little red flag that pops up in the corner of your Facebook profile, or you can send it as an email. And so I think it really depends what you're working on. You don't want to send people a lot of emails if it doesn't have relevant content, or if there isn't something that's very time sensitive of like, we need to do this now. Like there's a very understandable reason when you're approaching the end of a campaign to be like, okay, we need to do this, like let's get going. You know, we have 2 days to accomplish our goal. If you send an email both of those days, people will probably understand, like you're hitting a goal. But if you're not working on a campaign together on the cause, if you're just sending out emails, people probably will get a little overwhelmed and not want to get information from you that didn't need to go out so directly to an email. So I think it depends on if you're working on something that's time sensitive, what kind of content that you're putting in the announcement, and then also, just kind of being creative about using notifications, and just sending something out like that. And people tend to click on notifications a lot. Like it's nice because you're already in Facebook, you see the little red flag, you're like, okay, sure, I'll check out what's happening there. So I think it really depends on that. An example of a cause that I think is doing a great job of balancing out their announcements is actually the Lupus Foundation of America. So they post updates to the cause, an announcement that they only post to the cause, they don't send out to people, probably like 3 times a week. So anytime that somebody goes back, there's kind of new information there. But they only send out an email, maybe once every 2 weeks or something like that, and a notification every once in a while. And then when they're in an actual campaign, they can kick it up. But the nice thing is, at least they've been posting new information. Sending out the emails that they send out are very content focused and something really interesting or a really important opportunity for people in the cause, so that people are already feeling engaged. People have already been seeing updates from them, at least on the cause. They know that the cause is active, so that when a campaign does happen, those people kind of know what's going on. You don't need to reteach them what the cause is about before starting a campaign.
Great. I also want to get to a question from email. We had a couple of questions actually about the causes toolbar, which I'm actually not familiar with, so I think maybe some other people might not be familiar with it either. So maybe you could just quickly say what the causes toolbar is, and I think one of the main questions they had is, how do I direct people to the causes toolbar when they join my cause?
Great question. So the link to go to the causes toolbar is apps.facebook.com/causes/toolbar.
And so we'll have someone put that up in chat just in case.
Hopefully. And so that's where you can download the causes toolbar, and it lives on your browser. And the idea behind it is that every time you search for something, it donates a penny to a cause that you choose. And so let me just pull it up so I can look at it while I'm telling you about it. So when I put in the search, it'll tell me how much money I've raised already. The search will go up 1 penny as long as it's a new search that I'm making. And it, so far, so I've only raised 40 cents. I think I need to use the causes toolbar more. But then it tells me what cause that it's raised for if I click on that. So it says raised for One Well, a cause that I'm in. It'll pull up a list of all the causes that I'm in, so I can select a different one. So when I select a different cause, the total that I've raised, I think, goes back to 0. Yeah, because I've only raised, I haven't raised any money yet for the new cause, but if I go back to my first cause, it'll still have that running total for you. I know that in my browser, it doesn't say this, but I've heard that in some browsers it will also have a number on the right that says, I think it's around like $12,000 raised. So that's not just for your cause, that's how much is raised across the entire toolbar. And so it's important to keep track of how much you've raised on the left-hand side by your search and how much has been raised by the whole toolbar. And if you think that you haven't done, I guess $12,000 would be 1.2 million searches, that's a kind of good way to keep it into perspective and keep those two numbers separate.
Okay, great. And then how do you invite people to add that? If you have a cause, how do you invite people to add that to their browser?
So I don't think that there's a way to directly invite people, but
Okay.
you can just send them the link. Say this is a really great way to easily raise money for this cause, for this nonprofit. Go to this link, add the causes toolbar, and you'll be all set to start raising money. Make sure to tell them to select your cause if it is something that you're sending out to your cause members or sending out to people who are supporters of your nonprofit, because that is something, it's the type of thing you can also put in a newsletter. It's the type of thing you can put on your website as just another way that people can support you.
Okay, great. And since we just have a couple of minutes left, I was wondering if you could share, since Causes is the technology platform for the Giving Challenge, which launches in just 6 days.
Oh, yeah.
We wanted to make sure that everyone had all of their questions answered about Causes, that they had some time to play around with it. And so the team at Causes has actually offered to host a group of webinars, which will be helpful because you can actually see the screen as they're going through and not just have to try to find it on your browser or picture it in your mind. And so do you want to talk a little bit about when those will be? The full calendar is on the Case Foundation website under the Gear Up for Giving section, but if you want to mention what those will be and what people can expect from those.
Definitely. So we've also featured the full list of webinars on Causes Exchange. So
and that's Causes.
It's exchange.causes.com.
Exchange.causes.com. Okay.
Yeah. So the first one you'll see there is actually this Gear Up for Giving session. But then I talked earlier about the new upgrades to the Partner Center. We decided that it'd be pretty important to run through all of those things, especially if nonprofits want to take an active role in participating in the Giving Challenge and be a really strong competitor. These are great tools that you can use to reach out to your causes and really build a strong presence for the Giving Challenge. So we're going to talk specifically about the Partner Center tomorrow's Friday, October 2nd. That's going to be at 2 p.m. and the link to register for that is on Causes Exchange. And then next Tuesday, Matt Mahan is going to speak on Network for Good's Nonprofits 911 call, which is also going to run down some things about the Partner Center. The way to register for all of these is on Causes Exchange, and that's going to be Tuesday, October 6th at 2 p.m. And then I think the webinar I'm probably the most excited about is next week, Wednesday, October 7th at 4 p.m. All these dates are also in Eastern Time. The Giving Challenge starts next Wednesday, and so we figured that we'd have at 3 p.m.
So at 4 p.m.
So an hour later, we, after you guys get your causes all registered and ready to go, we wanted to do a webinar to run down all the details of the Giving Challenge. Let you know first of all some tips on how you can be competitive. How you can start recruiting people to your cause. What all the parameters of the challenge are, and how you can really start doing some fundraising work through the Giving Challenge. And so we'll talk about all those details next Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. And then the day after that, on Thursday, October 8th, we're going to do a really comprehensive, how to use causes effectively. So anywhere from recruiting, fundraising, running effective campaigns. So we're going to talk through all of those tools, all of those strategies, and talk about how specifically you can implement all of those ideas in the Giving Challenge. Because we want all of the causes that you guys have to be as competitive as possible so that we can get a really great challenge going. And then on Tuesday, October 13th and Tuesday, October 20th, we're going to do kind of some Giving Challenge check-ins just to kind of talk about how are things going, answer any questions that you guys have. So it's going to be much more of an open format, kind of like this, just kind of giving a brief summary of what's happened in each of these weeks of the Giving Challenge, and then seeing what success stories that you guys have had, or, what questions do you still have about the Giving Challenge? If you're a little bit late to the game, how can you already get started? How can you get back involved in things? And just kind of see how we can help you get your causes competitive and really get the challenge going. So.
Great. So there'll be a lot of opportunities for you to learn more about causes, and if you are just catching the end of this broadcast, then we'll have the video up just like we've had all of our Live with the Guru sessions taped. We'll have that video up on our website later today, and we'll also have the transcript available if you want to go back and search for one specific question. You'll be able to do that too. And I want to thank Sarah for coming today and
thanks for
giving
having
all
me.
this great information, and for doing the rest of the webinars later this month. So that's really helpful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and we're really excited to be working with the Case Foundation and Parade Magazine to do the Giving Challenge. I hope that all of you guys have gotten some good tips, and that come next week Wednesday, you'll be all set to start participating.
We're excited too. And I also want to one more time say, please go ahead and take that survey on your screen. It's just a couple of minutes it'll take to enter to win a flip cam and $250 for your cause. And thank you so much to all of the gurus who have joined us for these sessions, as well as C3 Communications and Goldhirsch Foundation for all of their help. I hope that you've enjoyed our pre-Giving Challenge Gear Up for Giving sessions, and please take advantage of the resources we have on the site. And we've had fun, so we hope you've had fun too. Thanks.